One, we start walking. When we say one and say go, you're already walking at one. And you take your first step at one. I go, okay, cool. So they start doing their little.
So there's like it's like orchestrated.
Oh yeah. Oh,
okay.
very much so.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And so they go, okay. So it's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and then at 3, 2, 1, and then but at 3 or 2, maybe the second or second 2 seconds before, they hit the lights, and all of a sudden this whole area where I'm at just lit up, and everybody's just crazy. It went nuts because everybody's seen it, and at the time, I remember I got a big chill throughout my body, and it was so crazy. Now
is that the adrenaline?
I guess because I'm on the cement floor. And that cement, there are people cheering so freaking loud. My body is vibrating because the floor is vibrating, and it's cement. And I'm going, holy shit, So I'm still kind of moving, but then they said, and then all this happens in a second. All this emotions going on in a second because it was 1 or 2 seconds before they said walk. So all this I'm telling you happened within a second or two, because they said walk, and then the next thing you know, it's tunnel vision. Everything is lost. You don't hear nothing. You don't see nothing. All you see, I couldn't even really tell you what I was looking at when I'm coming out to the ring. But I remember it was like it was yesterday. But I don't remember what I was looking at. I just remember every once in a while, because I'm holding on to someone's. Either I was walking out, I was holding on to someone's shoulder, or doing a little bit of both. And then you can see people that you know. I remember looking up and seeing somebody that I know and going, oh, hey. But I'm so really thinking about the fight. I might have said hey without even really realizing I said hey, what's up, because I'm so focused on what I'm doing. And nothing really came back. I got in the ring, couldn't hear anything. It was dead silence. And then I hit when I'm in the ring, Will Edgington, the trainer at the time, starts saying, hey, hit all the ropes, which means go lean back, see how loose or how tight they are, so that I know. And then so I did every time. And then, but as I'm going around, you can kind of hear people, but you're really not focused in. You're still doing what you're doing. And then I think people started coming back to me when I got back to the corner, and I started talking to my corner people about, where's my mouthpiece and where's all this stuff. And when we started talking about that, it started coming back. So that was pretty. That's pretty. That's like what I try to tell people all the time. People ask me, "What's more exciting, having a kid or you winning the title?" I'll let you guys figure that one out.
Well, that's a cliffhanger. That's a cliffhanger.
I'm not gonna say nothing. Hell no, my daughter watches this. I'm not ever saying. No.
But you're explaining that how you're just so hyper focused in that moment, and your training and your vision is just so pinpoint. You got tunnel vision, but your tunnel vision is just like right on point. So it's everything else is just noise.
It's not too much on point because on the 8th round I got dropped. I actually slipped. I slipped on his fist. No, you know, let's watch this.
Didn't stop the walkout though.
No, watch it. It was crazy. I was doing so well, and I was doing so darn good. Okay, watch this. I remember throwing a jab, and I can tell you like it was yesterday. I remember throwing a jab. When I threw a jab, I left my head high. Because you throw a jab, you throw it down. Your shoulder comes up, you throw it down. And he didn't even hit my face, he hit my head. And he threw a right hand. But his right hand went like, it just nicked me. It didn't even hit me because I slipped when I throw my jab, right? And it kind of just nicked me like this. But when he hit me, my whole body went numb. And I remember having my hand out like this. And I remember feeling really, really weird. And I remember tilting over like this. So I remember my eyes focusing down to the ground. And I seen the ground coming closer and closer. I don't remember hitting the ground. I remember rolling over, looking at the lights, and thinking, shit, I better get up. But before I finished that in my head, I was up, stumbling backwards. And the referee's grabbing my hands, and he was going, you okay? I remember going, yeah. But at the time, the whole arena was just rolling. It was a non-stop roll. It was fast. And then, and you can see it like in the fight. If you go back and watch the fight, you can see sometimes I'm still kind of a little willy because the whole thing is turning. And you ever spin around real fast, and you're walking like that? It's exactly what I felt like. And then this fool and so I remember getting ready to start jabbing. I moving around at first. And I go, I better start punching because he's going to think I'm hurt, which I am. So I started throwing jabs. And then on the ropes a couple of times, he caught me one time because I was not out of it, but I was still my world was still spinning, but I was better, And he threw an overhand right, and my whole body went again. It went back to numbing, and all I could do is fight back and keep moving my head, because they say the hardest thing to hit is a moving target, so keep your head moving, and so that's what I did. But that was kind of it wasn't even scary. It wasn't none of that. It wasn't anything. It was just something that happened. I had to get through it.
And not to cut you off, Champ, but how hard is it for a boxer in that moment where everything is spinning but you're on your feet? How hard is it to overcome that and get back into the match?
Well, you know what? It wasn't. It was. But it is what it is. There's nothing I can do to stop it. And watch, the commentator on the fight called it at that exact point when I started feeling better. I think it was 2 rounds. Because I came back to the corner. The whole place was still turning. I'm surprised I didn't ralph or something because the whole place was just turning. And then if you watch the fight and you had the volume up, the commentator says, it looks like Tony's getting his feet under him again. And that's the exact time everything started clearing up. Because I remember it,
So they actually know what they're talking about, the commentators?
They did that day. Well, one of them did. One of them was Lockridge was his boy, and he never wanted Lockridge to lose anyways. And I was new, and so sometimes I watch that fight. Sometimes thinking, what fight was that fool watching? You know what I mean? So, but it was interesting. It was kind of a trip. One of my first of maybe 1 or 2 in my whole career. But hey, it happens.
Do we have time for more questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I just have a whole list here, and it's just so much on my mind that I would just love to talk to you about.
I'm gonna make them fast.
But let me know if we want to pick it up in another episode. But how do you compare the boxers of today from the boxers of the 90s and the 80s and the previous generations?
The same way that the boxers from the 50s and 60s look at us from the 80s and 90s. Watch after these fighters of today, some of the fighters will look at these guys and go, "Oh man, he's tripping. You don't know." Shut up. Because that's what I used to do when I used to talk to Daniel Lopez, Bobby Chacon, Ruben Oliveras, all the great fighters of the 70s and 60s and 70s, mostly 70s and 80s, 70s. But these guys, dude, after you grow up and you look back and you go, damn, that boy was a bad thing. I'm not saying he would have whooped me, but I'm saying it would have been a good damn fight. Because they were tougher. They were just tougher. They had the 15 rounders. A lot of the fighters today would never go 15 rounds. They couldn't go. They wouldn't go 15 rounds. They couldn't do it.
Didn't they have where rounds went longer than that back in the day?
Oh, way back then. Rounds that went 100 rounds or something like that. Guys that fought 50 rounds, 100 rounds. Yeah, that's nuts. That's insane.
Oh, okay.
But, the reason why they stopped the 15 rounders because that's when people started getting hurt. After the 12th round, they're so exhausted, but, they had the condition to go. That's something. Okay, watch this. I don't care how tired you are. And I'm tired after 12-round fights. I'm tired. But ask me, someone say, man, could you have gone another round if you had to? I could have gone 5 more rounds if I had to, because my brain tells my body what to do, and that's the oof that people miss. That's the oof that people are lacking. That's the oof that the people in the 60s and 70s and 80s. That's the oof they had. because they wanted to win. It was for that time it was good money, and I made good money, but I'm thinking, okay, well, watch this. People are paying good money to watch me fight. I'm gonna put on a good fight. I don't want to be that guy that says, man, I'm a fool wasting my money. Ain't nobody I don't care if I won or lost. I've never made no one waste their money. They saw a good fight, whether win, lose, or draw. They saw a damn good fight.
Well, you definitely put Sacramento on the map.
Thank you.
Everybody in this town loved you.
Thank you.
So, yeah, thank you for that. Do you think, because, you always hear, like, they're saying, oh, well, this newer generation is weak. Back in the day, we had to, 15 rounds, we really had to fight. Do you see any of that in boxing today? Okay.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you what, man. Give me 3 months. I'll get ready. I wouldn't be another title today. Okay, maybe not, but but no, you know, but you know what? Watch. When I fought Rocky Lockridge, it was Rocky Lockridge, Zuma Nelson, and I can't think of the white guy's name. I'm sorry, but my mind slips me. But the guy from England or something like, not Barry Williams, was it? I think it was, maybe it was Barry, I don't remember. I chose Rocky because I could pick anyone. I chose Rocky because he looked like he'd be the toughest one. I chose him because he comes straight at you, he throws blows, he hits hard. But guess what I do? I come at you, I throw blows, and I hit hard. So guess what? Someone's always got to go, So, and that's what I want. I wanted to put on a good show. Watch this. My first world title fight, I made $30,000. Woo! People that are coming up, having their first fight today are fighting for $30,000. That was my 30-something fight. My first world title fight made $30,000. Never seen that much money in my life, And so for that, I'm willing to go to war. Back then, you're willing to go to war. That's big money back then. Times have changed and it's nothing now, but back then it was a lot. And and I always wanted to put on a good show for the people. I truly believe I'm a blue collar worker. I've always have been, I always will be. I own a plumbing business right now. People say, man, who does all the digging? I do if I have to. I ain't afraid to dig. I'll outwork you young fools. I'll tell you that much. You can't outwork me. You know what? Because I was born to do that. I worked hard my whole life. I can't stop now. I'm 60 years old, but I'll tell you, I'll dig a ditch faster than you. You know what I mean? But but that's what I do. And so I don't know. It's just changed a lot. And so I don't know. I just feel like, man, boxing today to me has changed so much. They're chasing the dollar bill rather than chasing the win. And look at it this way. Here's something. Here's some common sense for you. My man here's a world champion. He's making $50 million. It's my first major title. Maybe I have some small titles, and I'm a good draw. I'm a great fighter. People will come. People will pay to watch me. So and I want to fight you for the world title, but they're going to pay me, let's say, $7 million. How hard am I going to train? I'm a millionaire. Win, lose, or draw, I'm a millionaire. So how hard are you really going to train? Your win, lose, or draw, after taxes, you're still a millionaire. Take your millions and go build a business and live a dream.
Is that because now I'm into the big money, I've arrived, so now it's like the grinding days are over. I can just show up and get my money and go about my business?
No, I still think they train. My point was, win, lose, or draw, you're a millionaire. How hard are you really going to train? I trained really hard because I wanted to win. I chose Rocky because he was the toughest. I felt he was the toughest. I wanted to find a Zuma Nelson after him. But because I had a rematch clause with Lockridge, and by the time I had the rematch with Lockridge, some other fight came up that was more important, and I never got to fight the Zuma Nelson that I wanted to fight. So Zuma, if you're out there, I really wanted to fight you. You know, I really did. You know, and I'm not saying. And here's the difference between today and yesterday. Yesterday when I was fighting, I didn't say, oh yeah, I'm gonna kick your butt, I'm gonna do this. I didn't know. I know one thing though. You were gonna be a damn good fight. And I tell you what, I wasn't gonna take a step backwards. I ain't afraid of you. You know what I mean? I ain't afraid of shit. You know? And when the bell rings, guess what? We're gonna fight. That's why I wanted to fight Zoom Nelson. Cause watch, no matter what, it's a great fight. I had Fight of the Year with Rocky Lockridge. My first world title, I had Fight of the Year. Second year, I had runner-up Fighter of the Year. The second year, I had Fighter of the Year runner-up. I mean, come on. I mean, you know. So it's not for me. It was more about I wanted to win. I didn't take a fight for. No, I almost told a lie. I almost said I didn't take a fight for the money. I did take the fight for the money because that's what I'm working for. I'm working. That's my job. That's how I make my living. So yeah, would I like getting paid a lot more? Hell yeah. But did it happen? Well, it happened how it happened. But yeah, I didn't do bad. You know?
Do you think the purses are so big now with everything coming up? Because just in my time, I've seen like in the early 80s and then the mid 80s, but I also saw how like big pay-per-view and these big carriers now, and that you think the sensationalizations and the talking shit and all that kind of played into that, and then that kind of fed into the big purses.
Yeah, I think
or just more people got.
I think it's just the pay-per-views did. I mean, we'll see what watch. I had 4 pay-per-view fights. I was on because I remember I'm old, so when pay-per-view first started coming out, they paid you more money, but that's all they paid you. You didn't get a cut of it. You didn't do anything. Here's more money. Take it or leave it. So you know, instead of making 500, you're making 750, and you're going, okay, I'll take it. You know, because 750 back then is a lot of money. You know, and so
still is.
Yeah, but you know, but not like they're making it today.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So not, it is a lot of money, but not like we're talking about, you know, the sports of boxing. So not like shit. I don't even think their first fights. Mine was 30,000. Well, they're getting a few million on their first title fight. You know, I got 30,000. I'm not complaining about it. I did okay. I'm still doing okay. You know, I ain't rich. I ain't poor.
Sure.
I'm all right. You know, and so you know, but it was fun. You know, I don't know. I think it's just changed a lot. I think well, I'm in a gym every day. I go to different gyms all the time. Sacramento, out of Sacramento, different places, different states. I'm in boxing gyms all the time. Watch this. Ask me how many times do I see trainers train kids the right way. Very, 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 very times 1,000 few. Watch this. Let me ask you a question. Manny Pacquiao became Manny Pacquiao. Why? And I like Manny Pacquiao. I think he's a great fighter. But what made him so great?
I thought he was great because he was all over the place. He was fun to watch.
He was.
And he was winning.
And he was.
And he was hard working.
And he is. Still is. But watch this. How many world champions, how many number 1 contenders or number 2 or top contenders that fought Manny Pacquiao were right-handed? All of them. I don't think he fought a southpaw. I think he was the only southpaw out there, right? I don't remember him fighting a southpaw. So I'm going to say all of them. They say I'm wrong by once. I don't think so, but I think they were all right-handers. As a right-hander, what's your primary move? To your left. I was always taught and trained to, if you go more than 2 steps to your right, you are effing up. Why? Especially on a southpaw. Why? Because you're moving into his power left hand. Why would you do that? And you're moving away from your throwing your power right hand because you're moving this way and you're taking the power off it. So why would you ever move to your right as a right-hander? Why would you not keep your foot on the your lead foot on the outside of a southpaw's lead foot? Because that's where you fight for position. Because in that position, if your foot's on the outside of his, guess where his jaw is? Right in front of your right hand. If you're on the inside, where all the other fighters were, guess where your jaw is? Right in front of his power left hand. Why'd they do that all day long? Want me to tell you what that's from? Lack of training knowledge. And these guys are making multi-millions of dollars, but lack of training all from the trainer. I blame the trainer. I don't blame the fighter. I blame the trainer. You know, I've been to some fights and saw amateur fights, and I'm going, and I'm saying, I'm going, okay. There's a guy, his son was fighting, and he wasn't doing too good, and then he says, "Hey Tony, how do I get my son the bottom side one, the bottom one, the bottom one?" There you go. And then he goes, he's yelling for his son. So I go over there, I go in the corner, and it's a pro fight. I go to the guy's corner, I go, "Hey, I'm right back." So I go to the guy's corner, and I say, "Hey man, he's fighting a southpaw." I tell him what to do. He goes back to the last, he had 3 rounds, a 6-round fight, and he had the first 2 rounds he had lost, but he won the last 4 because he did what I was telling him to do. You know what the father said? "Man, thank you very much, man." I'm going, but that should be common knowledge for the trainer. You know what I mean? That's common, but it's not there anymore. No one has common knowledge. You have trainers now. I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying there are a lot of trainers out there today that are trained amateur fighters. Have no idea what they're doing.
Would you say? Sorry, not to interrupt you, champ. Would you say that's maybe like a regional thing or like a style thing? Like, have you noticed like any changes or differences in training from boxers from Mexico versus boxers from West Coast, East Coast? Do you notice any changes?
Yeah. Big time. Mexican fighters will dig your body. You know, they throw bombs to your body. They dig your body. And that's normally what they do. They're body punchers. They come at you real hard. They come at you full speed, punch hard, and that's what they do. West Coast fighters are a little bit different for the East Coast fighters. You know, it's always about the same, but the training, everybody has their styles, you know what I mean? And it ain't much, but it is. You can see it. I mean, you know, I don't know. I don't think there's like a big to do about it, but you know, it's different. You know, my daughter lives in Florida, Tampa, and I go down there. Now there's a trainer over there in Tampa, Florida, that me and him see eye to eye and everything, because you know he's trained just like I would train. You know, he teaches defense, offense, head movement, side to side movement. Teaches his fighters how to fight, his right-handers how to fight southpaw, and his southpaws how to fight right-handed. Because you're supposed to. Because the good trainers, that's what good trainers. You hear them good trainers? You're supposed to teach your right-handers to fight southpaw, and your southpaws to fight like right-handers. You know, so they have the best of both worlds, and they get used to it. You know, people say, "Oh, I can't do it." Well, then maybe you shouldn't be training. Go someplace else. And you know, like I train some people right now, and it's fun, man. You know, I got a couple of girls. I have a girl who's autistic. She's 7 years old. She's whooping boys all up and down Sacramento right now, and she's a little badass, dude. This girl can fight, and you know, it's really good. You know, I enjoy it because I see the joy in her eyes. Not really. It's what she wants to do. She's so determined. And they, you know, I asked around. They say, you know, she's autistic. So, and she really doesn't look at you in her eyes. You know, she really won't look at. She tries not to. And when I first started working with her, I go, "Look, baby, you really got to look at me in my eyes. Because if you don't look at me in my eyes, you're gonna see what's gonna hit you. Because I was always taught to look at their eyes, and from their eyes, you can see everything. I mean, it worked for me. So I passed on to her, and today. I'm working this way. She looks at me right in my eyes, and it's just it's real cool, you know. And you know she'll have her first. She's gonna turn out an amateur because she's got to be 8 years old. So she'll do that here in a couple months. She's gonna fight. So
and you're training her how to overcome something that she would not otherwise naturally do.
Right.
To make that eye contact.
Yes, sir.
So you training boxing. You training on many different levels.
Right. If you think about it that way, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you know, I tell you what, I had lived out in Elk Grove for a while, and I had a kid that, you know, his mom asked him if I would train his kids. His kids are real quiet and always getting picked on at school. So I had a few kids, a few knuckleheads in my garage. You know, they're all young, they're a bunch of little knuckleheads. And you know, they're always talking smack. And this kid, mom brings a kid to the gym, and I tell her, okay, let me work with him. So you know, the first, I don't know, first few weeks, he's coming in, you know, his head down, just kind of moping in. I don't know when it happened. I couldn't tell. You know, obviously I wasn't paying attention, or to that aspect of it. But one day, he's come to the driveway, and because now mind you, every time he'd come to the house, his head was down and kind of moping, like, you know. One day I look up, he's talking, he has his hair's walking like this, he's talking smack to the kids and stuff. I'm going, when the hell did that change, you know? And then I think it was only
turning them into a badass.
Well, you know, it was only like about, I think I only didn't train that much longer. And then I seen the mother like 2 years later in the local store, you know. And I go, hey, whatever happened to your son? You know, blah, blah, he's just stopped going. She goes, oh my God, you changed his life. You know, he goes, he had no friends, he had nothing. He goes, after that, his thing was this tall, you know, he was taller than him. He goes, now he's got friends, he's going out all the time, he don't think he has time to train. Like, well, it worked, you know, it worked for him, you know. And that's what sports, that's what boxing does. It gives you a sense of confidence, you know. And it's just a good thing to have.
Well, I appreciate you having me over.
No problem.
Allowing me to ask these questions. I've been dying just to kind of pick your brain. I have a whole lot of other stuff I'd like to know more about, but thank you again, and it's my honor to be here and to sit down and have this conversation with you.
Thank you, brother. Yeah. Right on. All right. Thank you for tuning in with 12 Rounds of Adrenaline with Tony the Tiger, and we'll see you next Monday. Same time, same place, with a little bit of this and a little bit of that.